Hey everyone, welcome to, what should be, I guess, the fourth episode or the fifth episode. We're one behind now. We lost a week. I'm Drew Absher.
Yeah, and I'm local guy. Yeah, we did that. That's
We're
that's on us.
we're on podcaster daylight savings time,
Yeah.
so we lost a week, and then in the spring there will be 1 week with 2 episodes. I'm sure.
Correct.
So don't get mad at us. We've got some big news. The country of Belgium fucks with us very heavy.
Yeah, shout out to Belgium, man. Seriously.
So I got an email that was like from some guy who was like Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are charting well in Belgium, and we're the #1 sports news. Do you believe that?
I don't know if I do, because I know obviously in Europe the #1 sport is it's football, or what we over here in America call soccer, right? And I got love for a good amount of Belgian soccer players, because there was people follow world football. They can get your laugh in now after I say this. I'm a Tottenham Hotspur fan, which is kind of the equivalent of being a Kings fan.
They suck?
They don't suck, but they're just kind of like been stuck in purgatory. And then when they
okay.
had some really, really good teams, it was always just like dysfunction behind the scenes and inability to invest into the squad properly that kept them from winning anything. Because I've seen them have some incredible seasons with absolutely nothing to show for it. If you could draw a parallel between a big time soccer club and the Kings, I would say like Tottenham Hotspur is kind of like they. I was destined to be a Tottenham fan.
I chose in Belgium.
No, so they're in England.
Oh, okay.
But they had 2 very, very good Belgian players on their squad at one point.
Oh, I see.
So it made
they're
me,
like the Italians and kicking and screaming.
right. Yes.
Okay.
And so one of those guys is actually back in Belgium now, playing in the Belgian soccer league over there. And I got a weird feeling, and you stop me if this sounds dumb, but he plays for a club in Belgium called the Royal Antwerp.
Oh.
And our podcast is called Royally Stupid. Do you think there's a chance that...
Well, that's what I was thinking, because in the subtitle, it's a Kings podcast. And I was like, maybe they are thinking, I don't know, hey, if you're listening in Belgium, let me know. Are you guys a monarchy? I don't know. Maybe they have like some king or something like that. And they were like, oh, this is a satire pod.
Perhaps.
Or maybe the country of Belgium is... I literally did have someone on Instagram message me and said, I went to Belgium, and the hotel I stayed in, the front desk guy was a Kings fan.
Oh, very, very interesting.
And I said, maybe that guy is just making every single person in the hotel listen to our podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Just that one guy.
Yeah. He's just like, people are coming to Belgium. He's like, while you're here, listen to this podcast. It tells you everything you need to know about Belgium.
Yeah.
It's also a Sacramento Kings podcast. So you can get unhelpful insight about last week's games.
Yeah. Regardless, though, really cool.
Yeah.
If it's legit, then great. Shout out to Belgium.
Well, what made me think it wasn't is it said that, by the way, I think it's funny. Like if it sounds like I'm being like egotistical, I think it's very funny.
Exactly.
If we make $1 off of this podcast, I'm gonna laugh my fucking dick off. But because it also said we were number 19 in America, and I was like, no way.
There's no way.
Sports news though is what the category we're under is, and I wonder if I like picked a weird category that's like niche or something.
Maybe,
like that.
perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean,
not sports.
do you even
news.
look at the amount of plays that we get?
I've never even taken
like
a peek at
most of the time that stuff's not important. That's not what we do. We're just doing this because we're bored.
I only know of 4 people because they said something to me at a Kings game. Like as far as I know, it's just those 4 people.
Yeah, I got one guy walking down K Street telling me he loves the podcast. I've done many Kings podcasts. I don't know which one he's talking about, but I assume that it's this one because this is the one I'm doing.
It's a fair
currently.
assumption.
Yeah,
it's definitely not Deuce and Mo.
I would hope not.
He definitely isn't a Deuce and Mo.
Because we know what that demographic
is
like. You can talk to Deuce and Mo about what they think about their demographic. But yeah, I've gotten that, and then like I've seen people, like when we were at that game against Portland a couple weeks ago, same thing. Guy sitting literally right behind us was telling you that he loved the podcast. Like, yeah, it's cool. And we have buddies that we know that listen to the podcast and let us know that they enjoy it. So, shout out to all you guys. Seriously, like just the fact that if it was just one person listening to this.
Shout out the Belgians. And shout out the rest of you.
Yeah, seriously. Shout out.
Shout out whoever's bumping our Apple podcast numbers.
Yeah, whoever's paying somebody under the table to boost our numbers. Shout out to you, man. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's funny to me. And let's do a live show in Belgium one day.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be great. Hopefully, I can get that guy who used to play for Tottenham Hotspur to come out. And,
Yes.
he'll just show up.
And the front desk man of a hotel from a guy who follows me on Instagram.
Yeah. So we need those two people specifically.
Yes.
I don't know how I'm going to get that soccer player to come, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
I will make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, speaking of making it happen, we missed a week, but we're coming back. Last week's episode was optimistic, I'd say. Like what we did record an episode. What happened was this recorder has two inputs for a USB-C. This is a little inside baseball for the folks at home. Everyone who's wondering what are some behind the scenes of Royally Stupid. Yeah, no, I plugged the power cord into the recording cord, so it was trying to record into a power outlet. So
Gotcha.
Which sometimes feels like me watching Kings games because it's just uploading into a power outlet. I just go, God, I don't remember anything that happened. And that's how I feel about all of last week's games.
Yeah.
I've got no recollection of them. I remember the Portland game was a scrapper.
Right.
But that was because we were there.
Yes.
And then Friday was a beatdown of OKC, but I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I guess there may have been a Houston game people are informing me about, but I don't.
Sources tell me that there was a game. As a matter of fact, there were two games in Houston.
Yeah.
But
it's fuzzy.
yeah, I really only remember.
It feels like a Mandela effect, maybe.
I really
like some
only
people
can-
remember it, some people don't.
I can only really recall the final quarter of this alleged second Houston game.
Yeah.
When Keon Ellis went off. With the Kings down by 20 or 30 or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it earned him a starting spot in the game against Portland. So I guess maybe we can just kind of just summarize those two games up real quickly. The two games that you remember them as, and many of you Kings fans probably remember it as, it's the two games where they got back on track. I remember those games as the first two starts of Keon Ellis' career.
Keon Ellis homecoming.
And since he has been in the rotation, they have yet to lose a game. But Portland and OKC. Like you said, Portland game was kind of a dogfight. Definitely just an ugly game. Went into overtime. Kings pulled it out. You and I had great seats for that.
Yeah.
So shout out to your buddy for
shout out Aaron. We did shout him out last episode.
Yeah, we definitely did. We're just doing it again just to be sure. And the Friday game against OKC, really, I think, the score was 105-98, but probably the team's most complete performance up to that point as far as on both ends of the court. Like, they were trying to manufacture offense any way they could without Fox. That explains 105 points, which is low by today's standards, but they only gave up 98. And you'll be shocked to know that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 33 of OKC's 98 points, accounting for more than a third of their offense.
Yep.
But that guy's just good.
Yeah.
So basically, it was.
What was Chet's line that game?
Chet wasn't all that great. I think he just about cracked 10 points. But Sabonis was like just going right through that guy.
Yeah.
He was just overpowering Chet. I really don't think that was something that Chet was prepared for.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, I get it, dude. Like, that guy, there's a difference of probably like 100 pounds there between the two dudes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was probably Chet's first, like,
bad start.
Mediocre / bad game in a while.
He was 12-7-1.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
A steal and a block, 5 of 12, 0 of 3, 2 of 3 from the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that game was fun because it kind of was like, oh shit, okay, like this team, they play, like this is not, they're not going to just completely crumble. That Portland game looked like, that could have been a bad win against a bad team type situation. But that the game on Friday really was like, okay, they do have some kind of ability without Fox. But
Yeah.
we didn't really need to see much beyond that because come Monday they get the Cavs.
Yeah, and the Cavs, man, I mean, they took it to the Warriors twice within a span of a week.
Yep.
I mean, they dispatched that team.
Oh yeah, can we talk about that for a second? Did you see the Donovan Mitchell cheap shot by Draymond Green?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I feel bad for Draymond Green, man. It always feels like he's in the center of issues, and it's like this league is out to get him.
100%, dude.
It's like, when is he going to catch a break?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people over the offseason saying, no, we don't want Draymond Green here in Sacramento. And I'm like, why not, man? The guy's got 4 titles, clearly an alpha.
Yeah.
And you need more alphas on this team. You know,
Right.
you need championship pedigree and just more alpha, maybe even sigma.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, right.
mentality on this team in order to win a title. And people were like, no, we don't want him here in
Yeah.
Sacramento. And I said, wow, you know, it's really, really like that's really short-sighted of you to just assume that he would be bad for this team because the guy's got 4 titles, right? And is probably one of the, you know, they didn't call him a role player or whatever, but he's one of the greatest role players of all time, you know, former defensive player of the year.
Totally.
And I mean, you know, by now many of you have seen it, but he put Rudy Gobert into a chokehold. And like, where's that on the Kings?
Well,
we need more of that.
Well, hold on. Did he put Rudy Gobert in a chokehold, or did the back of Rudy Gobert's head attack Draymond Green's chest? I mean, where was Draymond's arm supposed to be in that situation? You know, Rudy Gobert puts his neck right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to keep himself supported. He starts, you know, for all intents and purposes, rear naked choke holding Rudy Gobert, but that's not his fault. That's what you do when there's a Frenchman in your arms.
Right. Okay. You know what? That I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
And
I'm here to offer a fresh perspective. As a guy who just roots for Northern California teams,
mm-hmm.
I've become a bit of a Warriors fan myself, and I can
Okay.
say that Draymond Green is once again innocent and misunderstood.
I think we can leave it at that. I really do. There's not much else that needs to be said. You know, hashtag free Draymond. He got a 5-game suspension. By the way, conveniently comes back when the Kings get back from their road trip and they play their in-season tournament game. So shout out to the NBA for that.
Yeah, NBA smart.
And yeah, there's nothing else that needs to be said. That man, you know, the anti Draymond Green deep state, once again reared its ugly head. And it's unacceptable.
Here's like a real statement I have about the Rudy Gobert thing is kind of like is a lot more Draymond being Draymond shit to me, where it's like he wanted to choke Rudy Gobert. Like that's really what it boiled down to.
That was building for I think 6 years.
Yeah, right. It's felt like that was coming for a long time. But the Donovan Mitchell thing was weird. Did you see that play?
Yeah.
I really thought that was like really cheap and dirty, and it could have really ended badly for Donovan Mitchell in a way that, like, you know, it felt like the Sabonis stomp a little bit, where it's like, I don't think that stomp was like that hard, but you don't need to do something like that hard for it to result in something, you know, potentially dangerous. And yeah, I have a lot of respect for Draymond Green as like a competitor, but dude, it's just tough to like.
Yeah.
I think that the choke almost should have been like, because it looks more egregious than the Donovan Mitchell thing. That really should have been a longer suspension, simply for the fact that this happened. He's a repeat offender like multiple times. Yeah, within like the last week, he's a repeat offender.
Dude's
you
got
know
a
what I mean?
rap sheet
like,
a mile long.
It's crazy. So anyway, and as long as Steph's not playing, and if that means Draymond's not playing, I'm also okay with it.
Yeah. That is actually kind of funny though how that was a thing that was mentioned. And Rudy Gobert allegedly said this before the game. He's like, well, Steph's not playing, so Draymond's probably going to try to get himself ejected. And literally not even 2 minutes into the game, it happens.
Yeah,
like,
Rudy said that he said to himself, well, when I saw Steph wasn't playing, I was like, well, Draymond's going to get ejected. And then someone pulled the numbers, and it was 7 of his last 11.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
But I guess that stat was misleading. Sorry, we're on a Draymond rant now. But I guess that stat was misleading.
This is a pro Draymond podcast. We can talk about it.
Yeah, right. This is like really like the you know that TV show, The Story of OJ. This is us building our Draymond defense right now. We're the dream team.
Yep.
Yeah, but I saw that someone pointed out that like 4 of those last 7 came in a season where, like, whatever that season where Curry missed the entire season basically, and they ended up with the first pick.
Yeah.
Like, it dates back that far.
Yeah, it was it was the COVID year, the 1920 season.
Yeah, so it goes back that far. So 4 of those ejections were in that. So it's like, really, then it comes down to like 3 of his last, you know, whatever. So a little, you know, I'm a big pro Draymond guy. Everyone knows that about me.
Yeah, man.
So
yeah, same here.
Anyway, so yeah, the Cleveland game. We're happy to see Donovan Mitchell out there, that he survived a Draymond Green attack.
Thank goodness. And you know who locked him up that night though? Monday night against when he played against the Kings.
Tell him.
One Keegan Murray.
Dude, he's been lights out.
Who had a fantastic offensive game that night as well.
Yeah.
Like
25, 8 and 1, 9 of 13 from the field, a nice 69%.
Nice.
62%, 5 of 8 from 3, and then 2 of 2 of the line.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make Keegan Murray fun, man, is if he can go 5 of 8 from 3 and 2 of 2 from the line one game, and then the next game he can get his free throws up to like 8 or 9, 10, somewhere in that range. Like, he's really going to have that ability this year. And, that Cleveland game was incredible. He looked amazing on defense.
Yeah, I think people are maybe a little disappointed if you look at the leap that you were expecting Keegan Murray to take. It's kind of been hit or miss, but it's nights like that against the Cavs where you're like, oh, it's there. He's just got to be a little bit more consistent about it. The games before that and then the games after that, kind of so-so. Bottom line is the team won. He contributed. And these days, like last season, he was specifically just only a spot-up shooter, right? That was the one play type that you could do with him, was a handoff or like a screen into a three-pointer. If he wasn't giving you any spot-up shooting last season, then you're kind of thinking, what is he out there for? This year, he could take 0 shots a game, but on defense, he's making a massive, massive impact. And the Kings are in the upper half of the league in defensive rating, which just
is that official?
Yeah, I mean, it was 13th heading into the San Antonio game.
Okay.
Which is
and what'd they give up
crazy.
Last night?
They gave up 120 last night. I don't know the number now. I guess we can just look it up. But
it was 120, 129, huh?
Right, yeah, 129, 120, yeah. And I'm
going to pull it up.
Keegan is a big reason why the team has made such a huge leap on defense. And Monday was against the Cavs was just a huge example. Like, I was just the prime example of a guy who's taken a huge step forward on that end of the floor. Like, I remember the beginning of last season, guy was getting blown by basically any smaller guard, didn't matter who, had horrible screen navigation, couldn't really guard the pick and roll. And this year it's just completely different. And he's guarding Victor Wembanyama, Donovan Mitchell, stuck LeBron a few times during the Lakers game as well. I mean, it's been a gauntlet of tough matchups for him, and he's held his own. So it's been really, really nice to see from him.
Yeah, he's been incredible. I think that's going to be kind of the talking point for the beginning of the year, not just with Keegan, but I've also seen a lot of improved defense from Sabonis and Fox. Obviously, that's been the big three for me at the beginning of the year. Is their defense improvement is not only welcomed but needed. So I've been happy with that. Yeah, shout out Keegan Murray. He locked Donovan Mitchell up, and Keon Ellis played well that game.
Keon Ellis did play well against the Cavaliers. Just doesn't play outside of himself. Just goes in there and just gives you solid minutes. And we had a conversation about this, about how, I mean, the difference is clear when it's Keon guarding, kind of a taller guard or a wing as opposed to Davion Mitchell, right? Because the height is, I mean, it's 5-6 inches in difference right there as far as height goes. And obviously he just has a bigger wingspan, but he has just about the same lateral quickness. The thing that separates Davion from a lot of people is the fact that he can just accelerate and decelerate while just by backpedaling and sliding like crazy. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it defies physics. But at 6 feet tall, like, what is that actually really going to give you? Keon out there just being 6'4", 6'5", and being able to just contest shots, keep guys in front, navigate screens. That's been a huge add to the rotation, because now you have a guy who just, especially now with Fox back, if you stick him next to Fox, and they did play some minutes together against San Antonio, gives you a little bit more versatility on defense. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to have. Yeah, and he just knows his role. Goes out there, runs the team when Fox isn't out there, and then once Fox comes back in, whether he stays on the court or not, like, he accepts it, plays his 10 to 12 minutes a night, and he just gives you enough to where you're like, okay, like, I have to play this guy because he's such a plus on defense. Like, we need him out there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, his stat line isn't incredible. He only had 2 points, and he was like -3 on the box score. But the Kings as a team held Darius Garland to 16 points on like 5 of 14 and 3 of 8. So you're gonna love Darius Garland hitting 3 of 8 from 3.
Right,
like, that's almost a guaranteed win against the Cavs. So yeah, Keon Ellis has been good in the rotation. I'm an advocate for becoming the biggest Keon Ellis pod. I think that we should like almost just cover Keon Ellis.
All right, so we're pro Draymond.
Well, we're pro
and
Draymond by principle. That
Okay.
man is innocent, and we're two lovers of justice. True.
That is true. Yeah,
We don't.
And I typically believe in the American justice system. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a very fair system that has always it doesn't have any flaws. You know, due process. Totally believe in that. And the NBA should follow suit. The NBA should adopt something like that because they're being very unfair to Draymond.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Draymond is being. Draymond. I mean, he's being made an example of, and it's disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Can't stand it.
They should do this against like the real dirty players in the league, like Luka Doncic.
Yeah, man.
He's
that
always
guy,
screaming at the
that guy
referees.
stinks. I mean, even like
Draymond is polite.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, you got to think about it, dude. There's so many guys. I mean, like, I personally think that Dylan Brooks is on the same level as Draymond as far as being dirty, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, why is that guy not being punished
Yeah.
for anything? You know, like, why is John Morant getting this indefinite suspension or 25 games or whatever the hell it is that he's suspended for, and nobody looked at Dylan Brooks while he was on the Grizzlies and thought maybe that guy's the problem, you know? And then they let him get money to go to Houston, and then now he's still being dirty,
Right.
He's significantly dirtier than Draymond out there. Like, come on,
It's
just
true.
wake
Since
up.
Dylan Brooks has been in Houston, there has been 0 John Morant gun waves on Instagram. So, I mean, the proof seems to be kind of in the pudding.
Connect the dots, man. Connect the dots.
Yeah,
It's right there in front
You
of you.
tell me, folks.
Yeah, come on now.
Okay, so then the Kings head out to the beautiful sunny LA, where I mean, at this point we're just expecting wins against the Lakers.
Yeah,
they stink fucking ass.
I think they've won.
suck.
I think they've won 5 consecutive games in LA. They
Oh,
didn't.
really?
They didn't lose in LA last year to
Yeah.
both the Clippers and the Lakers.
No.
They didn't lose a single game down there.
Yeah, that's
So-
kind of. I mean, maybe maybe they start having a little bit of respect. Maybe they bring the entertainment industry up here.
Yeah,
There's 2 special talents just waiting to be discovered up here.
just saying, people.
Hollywood North.
Yeah, bring it.
Or
Bring it up. This
Hollywood Mid North.
Mid-North.
Vancouver's Hollywood North. So
exactly. That's true. That's true.
yeah, that Lakers game just felt amazing. I mean, Sabonis, Herter, and Fox. I mean, this is going to be one that like we remember towards the end of the season, even as like a oh shit, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, Monday against the Cavs, it was this systematic. They took care of business, right? They went about their business and they did what needed to be done. Awesome, right? Fox's first game back that night, right? So it was nice to have him back in the fold, and he picked up right where he left off. But if you look at Monday to Wednesday, and then I know we'll get to Friday against the Spurs, but from Monday to Wednesday, it's like, okay, like Wednesday, you're like, okay, this guy is all the way back. He is basically getting whatever shot he wants. I think aside from a few missed floaters that he was very upset about himself for, he was basically just hitting everything, getting wherever he wanted to, setting guys up, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see the vision now. Like, there was a point in that game in the third quarter where I was like, dude, this team is beating the shit out of this Lakers team. And granted, the Lakers were on a second out of a back-to-back. I'm not making excuses, but they were on a second out of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
The message was clear. We need to run these guys out of the gym, you know, especially with their best player being, you know, one of the oldest players in the league.
Right. And their second best player being one of the biggest frauds in the entire league.
Yeah, who, by the way, is still not beating Domantas Sabonis in head-to-head
Yes,
matchups.
cannot beat Domantas
He
Sabonis.
cannot get that monkey off his back, dude. It's
No.
crazy. Like,
No.
0-8 against Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, they just kicked their ass. They just took them to the woodshed, honestly.
And let me say this. Let me go completely on record here. I don't know if I have a reputation as a hater, but I certainly do not. Because Kevin Herter, you bad motherfucker, dude.
Oh, man.
What a game from Kevin
Wow.
Herter. 10 of 16 from the field all around.
Mm-hmm.
6 of 11 from 3. I mean, if Kevin Herter's going to go out there and shoot 55% from 3 against the Lakers, yeah, the Kings are going to be okay. Have your bad nights against the fucking Thunder. Let everyone else pick you up.
Yeah.
But, you know, go out there.
Although
and-
he was outstanding against
He
OKC,
was.
too.
I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
the teams that, you know, we feel like we can handle anyway, but those are the games where they're going to need Kevin Herter to step up
For
big,
sure.
and it was so nice to see him really step up. I know he had kind of gotten off the schneid a couple games prior, like you
Right.
said,
It was
OKC.
probably, I mean, like, he looked pretty good. He looked like he was getting there against Portland.
Yeah, he shot the ball way better against
And
Portland.
then he had a freaking double-double.
Yeah, against
OKC.
OKC, yeah.
And then, yeah, he kind of just, like, slowly ramped up to, you know, like, he was great against Cleveland.
Yeah.
And when you get a good shooting night from both Kevin and Keegan,
It's over.
say goodnight. Fox is back that night too, right? He's playing well, and Sabonis has been on an incredible run as well over the last 5 games.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday night, you go into LA and you go 6 of 11 from 3, and he's hitting shots from like all platforms. Like the guy's like hitting off movement, spot up threes, all that stuff. And you did see the stare down at the fan right after he hit a 3 in the right corner.
Dude, yeah. Did he say something? I couldn't tell if he said something.
I think he did say something, but
it looked like he may have let a little like bitch slip out or something.
Maybe,
like something,
maybe,
just a 1-syllable word.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean the real story of the Lakers game, I think, is the defense. I mean, every single player in the starting lineup with multiple steals, 20 in total from the team. Only 1 block, but I mean, how many blocks do you need when you got 20 steals?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're giving your team 20 extra possessions.
Yeah, causing turnovers and really being active in the passing lanes. It's like every single guy saw the assignment that night. And I couldn't tell. I had the same thought as you of like, this is a second game of a back-to-back. I can't tell how like much of this is like an exhausted Lakers team or even a Lakers team that's just not meshing.
Yeah.
There was like a little bit of that. There was a couple times where the Lakers were just turning it over, like not even steals, just like a couple passes out of bounds. I saw.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know what to make of that team. It feels this is my
idea.
favorite thing is the Lakers fans just are like, I mean, Cam Reddish is playing well. Rui Hachimura has been but that they think that basketball is truly just like, well, I saw his mixtape on Ball Is Life when he was in high school, and that means the Lakers should definitely go get him.
That's the thing. Look, I know many knowledgeable Lakers fans. I know many knowledgeable Warriors fans. However, the majority of those fan bases just like their teams. They don't really venture outside of the bubble that is their own team. Like, they don't really love basketball. They just love their own teams. And so when a guy gets traded there, they watch, a couple minutes of a hoop mixtape or like,
dude, that's it.
Somebody's best
dunk
highlights. Or they'll watch a dunk contest.
Dunk highlights from the bubble.
And then all of a sudden it's, this guy's going to be the best thing, since sliced bread. The one trade that I will never, ever forget that they made that had that fan base so ready to, like, they thought they were going to win it all.
Yeah.
They thought they were going to go all the way because of this guy. You'll never believe this.
Let me hear it.
When they traded for Ramon Sessions.
No way.
Lakers fans thought that guy was going to be like, that's the guy. Like, he's going to be the guy that's going to take this team to the next level.
When
Ramon
was that?
Sessions. I think 2011.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like 2012.
And that was when they got swept by the Mavs in the second round. And the Mavs were the eventual champions. So, hey, no shame in that. But they thought this guy was going to be awesome. Dude, he was not good in LA.
Yeah.
He was not good there. And then he just wasn't really good ever again because then he was an eventual king and he was not good in the king.
Well, you're a couple years older than me by, I'm 28.
I'm 46.
46, yeah. So your brain came on a little bit during like my brain, what I should say is that like my brain turned on during like the Kobe Shaq years.
Okay.
But like most of my memories of Lakers are like Kobe Powell.
Yeah, okay.
And then Kobe and whatever the Lakers could throw in front of him. Like whoever
Kobe,
Jordan
Andrew,
Farmar,
Andrew Bynum, Sasha Vujacic.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like it was like Kobe Bryant and 11 guys who don't quit during practice because he's too mean to them.
Yeah, I think the most legendary run of teammates that he had.
Yeah.
That just obviously for us was like box office and just tested his patience every single day was when he had like Nick Young and Jeremy Lin.
Yeah.
And he was just absolutely shitting on those guys
he's
every
like,
single day in practice.
Could you imagine what he must have thought when Jeremy Lin got dreads? Was Jeremy Lin on the Lakers when he had dreads, or he had kind of still like a regular haircut?
I think he did the dreads and braids thing after the Lakers. It was when he was
on the Nets.
He was on the Nets. Yeah, yeah. I remember honestly, man. Look, Jeremy Lin, good looking guy. Obviously, went to Harvard and somehow carved out an NBA career. Like that's not
Yeah, pretty cool.
But he's got multiple huge contracts too. Like that's like.
And we're Northern California sports fans, so we root for a guy from Palo Alto.
Yeah, he's from Palo Alto, man. Yeah, East Palo Alto, man. Shout out to the PA.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what they call it. Yeah, look, he was great and all, but at that point in Kobe's career, I think he's looking for a little bit more than Jeremy Lin as his starting / backup point guard. Yeah. And
second stint, Derek Fisher wasn't cutting it.
No. Oh my God, I totally forgot that was the thing. Yeah, like that's I remember looking at those teams after the Powell Kobe years, and I'm like, dude, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, it sucks. That is kind of what my memory is of them, actually, where it's like the Lakers fans just like being fired up that they're getting like a new guy. Like
any new guy.
New guy is going to be the reason.
Jason Capono.
Yeah, Jason Capono. Wow, that's a great pool. Yeah, I remember them being super hyped. Anyway, what I'm saying is Lakers fans are dumb as hell.
I don't think you're going to get a disagreement from most basketball fans out there.
Yeah, and I think our fans are going to really love that.
Yeah, I think that one's going to go over well with our listeners, all 6 of them.
Yeah.
So
and Belgium.
And in Belgium, right? The entire
fucking hates the Lakers.
The entire country of Belgium is definitely down with that message.
If you're Belgian, and you're coming to the United States, go to Los Angeles and take a shit outside the Crypto.com arena.
Right in front of the Magic Johnson statue.
It's legal in this country.
Yeah, I'm told they won't do a thing.
They won't.
It's a normal thing down there.
All right, so we kind of have moved quickly here. We got to do the Spurs
in-season tournament game.
Yeah, in-season tournament game. But before we do that, the Lakers game kind of gave me a good opportunity. I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on what you're seeing defensively, because there's a couple things that I remember. Primarily, the big focus I remember last year was forcing everyone middle, right? Or they wanted to keep everyone away from the middle.
Correct. That's called icing.
Yeah. Is that still the point of emphasis? Because it feels like the point of emphasis is they're like, what's it, hedging screens?
Right.
When you pop out on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And being just physical and like, kind of like making sure no one comes through the lane untouched. Mm-hmm. Like it seems like they're less concerned about directional stuff and more about like fundamental physicality.
Yeah, I think so. I think that is a good observation. Their physicality, really, and just their connectedness would make it seem as if they don't care where they're kind of influencing these players to go, or
right.
It might seem as if they're not taking away middle as much. I still think that, and this is just me putting my coaching hat on. 5-0 record as an interim head coach, as a high school coach. So I definitely know what I'm talking about. Okay. Watch out. That's the best record for a head coach in my school's history.
It's the best record.
Minimum 5 games.
Yeah, and it's the best record for a coach of all time. It's a 1,000% winning record. That no one's ever done better.
That's true. Exactly. Nobody can do better than that.
Nobody has ever done better.
As long as the caveat is that you only count 5 games, I'm certainly up there. I'm on a list with some really, really special people.
And because it was only 5 games, you kind of count the 5th game as a championship game.
Yeah. I guess you could.
It is a championship win.
Essentially, it is. You get a bracket of 16 or 32 teams together.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
You're only as good as your last game. That was a win.
Exactly, and that was a dub. So
as far as I'm concerned,
that is true.
You have to be a winner.
But from a coaching perspective, I would imagine that there's still, like, you have to have principles and rules that you have to fall back on both offense and defense. Offensively, I mean, I can tell you right now, like, what their rules are and what they run and what gets triggered, and when this happens, that happens, that whole thing. Because I probably watch the offense more.
Yeah.
On defense, I still think that the message is we're not giving up middle. You just don't generally want to give up middle at all. Like, there's maybe one defense that I can think of that's an actual system or concept that encourages giving up middle, and I just don't think that it's made its way to the NBA simply because NBA players are too good for you to just willingly give up the middle of the floor to them.
Yeah.
So I think they're still icing teams. They're still icing ball handlers up top. But you're right. In pick and roll, they do ask a lot of Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah.
And he's up there either at the level, meaning he's right there, at the touch where he's kind of got his arm on the screener and meeting guys there, or he's actually coming up and he is hedging a little bit more on ball screens a little bit more this season, although we don't see it like as frequently as we do with other teams that have like super athletic 5 men, right?
Yeah.
He's doing a good job of coming up and just showing, and then he's either able to get back to his man, and honestly, he's not that bad in space. So that's been good. I think the key difference though is what you mentioned, which is the physicality and the fact that these guys are just, I don't know. I think it's so much easier to be confident about playing a pick and roll or a handoff or something like that a certain way and being a little bit more aggressive when you know the 3 guys behind you not involved in that action know where to be. And that's what I've seen from the starters especially, maybe minus Harrison Barnes.
Yeah. It's been rough.
Been a little rough for HB, but aside, but I mean, even in help defense, HB knows where to be. Like, he's not, as long as it's not him guarding a ball handler that's just quicker than him and younger than him, he's okay in help defense. So I think it's the 2 guys being involved in the point of attack action, having more confidence that the guys behind them, dealing with all the movement behind them, will probably be where they need to be. And this season, I have not seen too many instances of somebody being completely out of position and not being able to help one pass away, or if they get dribble penetration going towards the rim, like somebody's going to be there to contest that shot.
Yep.
And that's been really, really nice to see. So I still do think that they're icing everything. I still think that that's generally the rule. I we saw Sabonis at the level a lot this season, last season. He's doing it again this season, but they can be a little bit more aggressive. And then I do just I'll use the OKC game as an example. That game, they said literally anybody but Shea, and he still got 33 points. Mm-hmm. But there was a point in the game where they're like, no, we are blitzing this guy. Like, we're not even going to wait for a ball screen. We're just gonna go double this guy, and they got turnovers off of it. And if you can add those types of things into a game plan, or if you can just adjust that way on the fly in the middle of a game, oh, dude, that opens up a world of possibilities. And they were able to do that multiple times during that OKC game, kind of throw them off balance. And it's just like, okay, if the coaching staff has confidence that this is going to work, and then it actually does work, I mean, that's, I would imagine it's really vindicating for the coaching staff, because I think they've always had the belief that this team could be pretty good on defense.
Right.
It's just, we wondered if it was the personnel. We wondered if some of these guys just don't, they just don't have it on that end. Turns out you get 82 games last season plus the 7 in the playoffs, and then now we're 10 games into this season, 11 games into this season. Turns out if you play roughly 100 games with one another, you start building some chemistry. And shout out to Deuce and Mo. They had me in King's Film Room. Also shout out to King's Film Room. Yeah. He's going to hear this a little late because Fresno has bad internet.
Right.
But we were on Deuce and Mo before the season, and we were asked that question by Deuce and Mo. Me and KFR were asked, like, what do you think? Can improvement happen internally? And I actually reposted the clip of where I said, yeah, I think it can, because the more you play with one another, the better your defense will be, simply because you trust one another more. And Kevin, after the Lakers game on Wednesday, was asked, like, what's with the defensive improvement? And he said, we're more connected than we've ever been. We are more connected, more trusting of each other than we've ever been. Yep. And it's showing. And I think you can attribute it to that. You can attribute it to, obviously, like, Keon Ellis on defense has been a revelation. Like, just throwing him out there makes your team defense a little bit better. Duarte's been great. Like, Duarte's can be a little chaotic. Like, he picked up like 4 fouls in like 7 minutes on Monday.
It's scary sometimes.
Yeah, and he fouled at a pretty high rate against the Lakers, but against the Spurs on Friday, he was fantastic.
Yeah, so. But even if he is getting like 12 to 15 a night, if he's using 4 fouls, I know it's fast, but like, I do like that. Like, if the goal is physicality, like. Mm-hmm. I love Kevin, but he is getting kind of bullied out there sometimes. Yeah. And so it is nice to have a guy that you can throw in there that goes like, no. Like, Duarte's going to be up in your chest. He's going to be mean about it.
Yep.
A couple times in that Lakers game, he was like in LeBron's chest and was. Yeah. It seemed really unintimidated by LeBron, which is like, I'm sure has to be an oxymoron. Like, I could not imagine standing in front of LeBron James and being like, this is the most confident I've ever been as a defender.
Yeah, man. I still got to have I would love to have a conversation the next time I see him with Keon about, because he got cross-matched on LeBron a couple times. I want to be like, dude, what was that like?
Yeah. Switch.
Yeah. If it was me, I know I got 6 fouls. I'm using one of them. Yeah. You kidding me?
Yeah.
But no, I think you're right. I think that's a good mentality to have is, well, I got 6 of these.
Yeah.
And if it means that I can either send a message, or if I can just keep teams from just sleepwalking into the lane, then I will use fouls if need be. And you're right. He was really good at doing that against the Lakers, including against LeBron, and then on Friday as well. I mean, there were a couple of times where he mixed it up with Jeremy Sohan, and got called for a foul, and then literally right after the foul, they inbound the ball, and he gets into his chest again, and then gets a turnover.
Yep.
Like, yeah, the guy.
Oh
the
yeah,
guy knows what he's doing.
that was actually a play that came to mind. Yeah, there was like he got up on Sohan, and then Sohan like tripped over his own feet and turned it over. Yeah. It's been, you hope that these guys like all can do enough of the. That seems to be one of the Kings' issues right now, is that they have a lot of like one-way, like one-dimensional guys. I don't want to say one-dimensional because that seems so minimizing, but guys who are definitely not two-way players.
Yeah.
To do one side of the ball much better than the other. Mm-hmm. And you just hope that enough of these guys, like Sasha's a guy who comes to mind immediately, where it's like, or Trey Lyles, another guy, where it's like, can these guys be good enough defensively to like impact?
Yeah.
You don't need to be amazing. You just got to be able to impact. Yeah. And it seems like they are. That Lakers win gave me a lot of encouragement. San Antonio last night was a little bit beefy.
Yeah.
But I thought the Lakers game, if they can turn out, 110 point victories, right? 40 times a year, they're gonna.
And they gave up. I think they gave up 120 or whatever against Cleveland, but that's
120 to 1. Hold on, 120 to 132.
130. Yeah. Well, I mean, that game was out of hand by halfway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, same with that Lakers game.
So
it's even that 110 feels kind of inflated. I mean, the Lakers like brought it back in, but they pulled their starters with like 5 minutes left or something.
Right. And we were talking about defensive rating specifically. As of right now, as of this recording, people, this is Saturday
at 3:30 because there is a game on right now.
Correct.
We want to make sure
there's a full slate of games Saturday night.
We want to make sure we're being honest with.
But as of 3:39 p.m. on Saturday here, you got the Kings' 15th in defensive rating and 13th in offensive rating. Now the offense, there's a big asterisk with that because have you seen the numbers with Fox playing?
It's crazy.
They're the best offense in the league when he's playing.
Okay, so the starting five is once again like one of the best starting fives in the league.
Yeah.
I think Boston's is like at a historical rate right now, but I think the Kings are pretty close to second or third if they're not in second. I mean, I think they're third or fourth if they're not in second. And yeah, I mean the Fox numbers are insane. But I'll be honest, I think that as much as I do think that, like, of course, Fox is the answer and an MVP candidate and everything, I hope that we don't kind of have these revisionist spin on what we saw as like the Kings suck without Fox and they're great with him. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that they just needed to be able to figure out what they needed to do without Fox, and it turned out that those Houston games were a bad time to figure that out.
Yeah,
like Houston was a tough matchup.
Away from home. And
yeah. But Portland, you saw it a little bit more. Sabonis had the ball way more in his hands than any of the other games, and he was offensively really driving the motor, really pushing the tempo himself and stuff. So, and I think that Sabonis has, since that Portland game, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like his season average in points is probably closer to like over 20 since that Portland game.
Yeah, so as of right now, he's up near 20 points, and he was not close to that.
Yeah, he was like 17, 16.
I mean, I can shout out to Frankie Cardicelli. He's been posting a lot of neat stats over the last couple of days here about the Kings. Domantas Sabonis' last 5 games. These are the points totals from his last 5 games. 27, 29, 23, 17, and 27.
Yeah.
So, I mean, take that, add it all up, divided by 5. What is that? I don't know.
A lot. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's enough points that you go, oh, yeah. And this is kind of something with Sabonis. Hit a 3 last night, I think.
Hit 2?
2.
Yeah.
2 last night.
Yeah. I mean, he's at least looking at the rim.
Yeah, dude. You're like, oh, dude, it makes me like revved up, dude.
Yeah.
Thinking about a Domantas Sabonis who knows how good he is on offense and then still is a decision maker like he can be. Like, The 7 assists are amazing, but dude, the 27 points last night is just.
Yeah, he's been
9 of 13.
Yeah,
that's
man,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
dude.
and he's in the game against the Lakers, he had 17, 13, and 13.
Yeah.
He's
the guy,
unbelievable, man.
Against the guy who I've been.
I'm sorry, that wasn't against the Lakers. That was against the Thunder. Sorry, 17, 13, and 13.
Yeah, what was his Lakers stats? It was
29, 16, and 7.
There we go. And that was against a guy who I've been told is supposed to be like a defensive player of the year candidate. But
but has never actually reached that.
All I've ever seen is a fucking fraud. All I've seen is a guy who can only shoot inside the bubble and who is a major fraud.
Here's another neat thing that Frankie tweeted out, and this goes back to our conversation about with and without Fox. With Fox, the Kings average 127 points per game. They shoot 49% from the field, 38% from the three-point line, average 28 assists per game, and they're 5-1 in those games. Shocker. No Fox.
Mm-hmm.
They average 102.6 points per game. They shoot 42% from the field, 30% from three, only 25 assists per game, and they're 2-3. Now, that includes 2 games in Houston that, again, maybe happened, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out if we get.
We're still trying.
Does Frankie have any tweets about if that Houston game happened or not?
I
don't think so.
No, but I think I can maybe shoot him a text and he can confirm to me whether or not they did or did not happen.
Either way, right now we'll act as if they didn't.
Okay, yeah, we'll just go with that then. Yeah. Yeah, look, really, really going out on a limb when I say this, but the Kings are better with De'Aaron Fox.
Yes. Yes, totally. They are a much better basketball team when De'Aaron Fox is on the floor. They're a much better basketball team when De'Aaron Fox is scoring 43 or when he is scoring 25. That's what makes De'Aaron Fox like such a fun basketball player is like, man, he just like, I guess it must have been on that Lakers broadcast. I forget who was calling the game. Oh, maybe it was Doc Rivers.
Oh, it was on Wednesday. The ESPN guys on the call, I think, were Dave Pash and I'm forgetting who the analyst was.
Did Doc Rivers call a Kings game recently?
Doc Rivers called the San Antonio game with Dorsberg.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Doc Rivers, I think, was just like kept saying like every time De'Aaron Fox like drove and then kicked out, he'd be like, "That's De'Aaron Fox. That's De'Aaron Fox."
Mm-hmm.
He just like kept saying that. And it was annoying because I was like, "Shut up, I know," but I do understand that like there's probably not people outside of Sacramento who realize that impact is exactly it. It's just like the defense entirely collapses around Fox, it entirely collapses around Sabonis, and when they're both in the paint, it's just mayhem for the defense. Scramble City.
Yeah, and it's just. I mean, really not much else needs to be said, man. They're so good. Sabonis and Fox are so good together.
Yeah.
And those two guys out there, just it's how do you when especially with Fox hitting 3-pointers the way he's been hitting, you know, like like what's the answer for defenses really?
Yeah, there's no answer, and I do feel bad about this, but I've been self-hating a little bit, and you know, it's tough as a Kings fan, but like. I think I don't like winning that much. Like
because ticket prices get inflated and we can't get any.
It's just like 5 wins in a row. I'm like, here we go. I mean, why is the other team even showing up? You know, it's like we all know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So on game days when the game is about to tip off, you're like, gotta watch another one of these. Is that kind of your attitude at this point?
Yeah, well, it's just like, I mean, could we like make it like just 2 quarters or something? Like it's going to be 4 quarters. It's going to be like a bully beatdown. And then I'm also like concerned about the power grid in Sacramento. You know,
oh yeah,
the beam keeps getting lit. I don't know what kind of waters that thing takes, but you know, like
and they made it stronger this year.
You know, everyone talks about the beam, but what no one talks about is that. As like citizens of Sacramento, when the beam goes on, our electricity like whoa, like exactly. Comes on and off, and it's just it's a nuisance. And so I don't know. Maybe I say we tank.
Okay.
I say we trade De'Aaron Fox at the height. At the height of his.
This is his draft. I mean, his trade value is not going to get any higher than it is right now. Were you aware that he's leading the league in scoring as of 3:46 p.m. on? That's today?
True, and we should just admit defeat with the Domantas Sabonis trade.
Right.
Everyone's telling us we lost that trade.
I'm told that we traded the wrong point guard.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's that simple.
Yes.
That we just traded the wrong guy.
Traded the wrong guy. Yeah.
Man,
shame.
yeah.
Real shame. And you know what? The wattage issue and the power grid issue in Sacramento is a real problem. Like, we're enjoying these wins, we're enjoying the beam, but these are real life problems that people will have to deal with. When the power grid just completely shuts down, what happens? Are we prepared for that scenario? So we're enjoying this right now, but who's talking about it? And right now we're talking about it.
Yeah, there's not many elected officials who are bringing these kinds of things up, and so I just think that the Kings' best strategy is to just everyone said they're going to get hurt at one point. Maybe this is a time where people start faking injuries, sitting out, just to kind of preserve the city, kind of our spirit. We're supposed to be downtrodden. We're everyone's little brother. It feels weird, I guess, is what I'm saying.
And it would fit John Hollinger of The Athletic. It would fit his narrative that the Kings are going to get hurt this year.
Yeah.
He's almost, again, we've talked about this. He's rooting for it to happen almost. Yeah. And it did.
I'll say that on the record. John Hollinger is wishing ill on the Sacramento Kings.
He's basically insinuating as much with the way that he was talking about the team before the season. So
yes.
Yeah, it's not like you're really going out on a limb there when you say that.
No.
But hey, they were 2-3 without De'Aaron Fox, and that does equate. And if you extrapolate that over an 82 game season, that's a losing team, right? So they're 5-1 with him. Injuries do happen. I mean, John Hollinger is obviously sacrificing, I don't know, small rodents, or has a voodoo doll of Fox and Sabonis somewhere, and he's probably going to start using that soon. These guys are going to get hurt according to John Hollinger, so that means they're going to be a bad basketball team. So there you go. That's probably what's going to happen is, that'll solve two issues. So one, the wattage and the power grid issue that you're talking about.
Yep.
It'll be nice to keep the lights on, and then they won't win anymore after that happens, and then we won't have to worry about wasting time watching these wins. There will be some excitement because it won't be a foregone conclusion that they're just going to win games.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Yeah, and then once they start sucking again, then I can tune back in, get my hopes up.
Yeah,
be really excited for some second round pick guys that maybe flamed out with the Knicks or something like that come over here in a trade for some cash considerations.
It would mean that the Kings would keep their pick that they traded for Kevin Huerter this.
That would be huge.
That would be
and
massive.
you never know what kind of player the Kings are going to get at the 7 pick. Is it going to be someone who's not great, or is it going to be someone who's a little bit better than not great?
Yeah, exactly. Are we going to get in Sacramento, are we going to get are we going to get Thomas Robinson, or is it going to be
Tyreek Evans
or Yorgos Papagiannis?
You
never know with this team.
In a bit of serious news, we have 8 minutes left.
Okay. Well, real quick, Spurs game. You want to just run through that? I mean, in-season tournament game, the Kings are 2-0, top of the group.
Yep.
They're going to go to Vegas.
Yep.
Hopefully.
It's almost put it in stone as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And Spurs beat Thunder on Tuesday in an in-season tournament
it's
game.
It's actually wild because point differential matters.
Yeah.
Right? The Thunder, they're 2-1 in the group, but they have a plus 36 point differential, which far and away is the highest in the group. However, they're in third place because of that one loss.
Nice.
And the Spurs, the Spurs haven't won a game in group play. So whoever it is that beat the Thunder.
Wait, no, the Spurs did.
But I don't think that was an in-season tournament game because I think
on Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was.
Was it?
Yeah, I think because
I thought the Spurs hadn't won a game in the group yet.
I think that they beat. Let me look. Oh, the Thunder beat the Spurs. You're right.
Okay. Now I would imagine that it was the Warriors that gave the Thunder its loss against it for the group, correct? I'm thinking that's what happened.
Yeah, the Warriors beat the Thunder in the first one.
Okay, gotcha. Well, they did us a solid.
Yeah.
Because that plus 30, if they had just not lost that game, that plus 36 point differential would be that would keep them afloat. So right now it's basically between the Timberwolves, who by the way are looking pretty good.
Man, I gotta eat my word on
that
those
game. We will be talking about
Wolves.
the game the next time we record because that game is coming up this week. So yeah, that's gonna be a big one. That the group essentially comes down to that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's gonna be. I'm enjoying the fuck out of the in-season tournament. The Spurs game, De'Aaron Fox did whatever he wanted out there. That was basically the summary of that. The rest of the team looked good, but Fox looks like the man. The in-season tournament has been fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Meaningful November basketball, man.
Yeah, it is like it's way meaningful.
Yeah.
And what I am enjoying with the point differential, and it kind of makes me wonder if we should just add it to the NBA games too, like really use it as a some kind of tiebreaker, because I do not understand why teams stop scoring the ball. It's so weird to me. It's like the only sport where it's like a complete give up at the end.
Well, I'm told it's because of sportsmanship.
Yes. That's what they say.
But as a hater...
Well, they say it's sportsmanship, and then they treat each other like shit. Entire, like that Thunder or that Timberwolves Warriors game probably ended. I mean, I'm not saying like, with like 18 seconds left, like hoist a 3 up, but I'm so weirded out when I see like teams like basically running out the clock with like a minute 50 left.
Yeah,
I'm like, why? There's like, if it's under the shot, like, could you imagine a team just like in the NFL, like taking a knee for like 3 straight series? You know what I mean? Just being like, yeah, no, you guys can have the ball back. We're just going to kill the clock.
I mean, I've basically seen the equivalent. Brock Purdy's arm fell off in the NFC title game last year, and then they basically did like the elegant version of that, which was just hand the ball off.
Yes.
Because nobody could throw a forward pass.
I guess that's true. I guess just spamming HB draw.
Yeah, just halfback dive. Yeah.
But it is just weird. I like me and my dad were watching the Spurs Kings game yesterday, and like at the end, I think Herter shot a 3, and my dad's like,
it was like a fast break layup, and he and whoever was threw it ahead to him. I think it was Fox threw it ahead to him, and he got there just in time and got that bucket to go.
Yeah.
And that's big because that's point differential.
Yeah, that's my dad was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, it's point differential.
By the way, were you aware that the spread was 8.5?
No, I wasn't. That's very funny.
So people thought that the fix was in. And then a whole bunch of people on Twitter had to tell these stupid bettors, like, yo, dude, like point differential matters. Maybe don't bet the spread when point differential matters.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, also, that's got to look like the most obvious evidence of game fixing if you're a bettor. If you don't know that rule and a guy just
hilarious. Final score was 129-120. There you go.
That's perfect. The other thing I was going to say is, I guess it doesn't really matter anymore. We could talk about it. I don't know. This Kelly Oubre thing is getting fucking nutty, dude.
Man.
What the hell?
You remember the Monte Ellis thing, right? Where he got hurt in like a moped accident,
yes,
and then he lied about it.
Yeah,
so
is that what it seems like to you?
I don't know. People kept on bringing up the Monte Ellis thing, though.
Yeah,
they were saying this has shades of the Monte Ellis.
I was listening to the
situation.
Mismatch, and someone said they heard. God, what a gossipy hen I am. What a fucking loser. Kevin O'Connor said that someone within the police department that in Philadelphia doesn't believe it happened.
Interesting.
So it doesn't sound like the police believe it happened. And then also the Ring doorbell camera that they like obviously leaked, quote unquote. Did you see that?
I didn't.
Yeah, they
I gotta watch it.
TMZ got a Ring doorbell cam.
Of course, TMZ.
But people pointed, exactly. Like he just obviously gave it to TMZ.
Yeah, clearly.
How did they get his Ring doorbell cam? But he's like coming inside, and he's saying, "I got hit by a car" as he's walking inside. But like the front door is unlocked. Like people pointed out, like he just walks straight into the house.
Okay. Yeah. That's just bizarre.
Weird, dude.
Yeah. What a weird situation.
Weird.
And it was so cool seeing, by the way, Tyrese Maxey.
Godlike.
We already knew he was pretty good, but you could tell that the leap was happening pretty early on in the season. That's why they made that Harden trade.
Yeah.
Right. And now he's like been completely unlocked. He's so awesome. But
dude,
after he scored 50,
yeah,
and they showed the video in the locker room, they gave him the game ball, and then he was like, "Yo, this is for KO, man." And everybody's like, "Love, love, love." Like, now what? What? Like, does that video still have the same meaning? What happens now? Like, what if he's faking it? Then what? Like,
yeah, well, I guess like the thing that's kind of interesting about it is like you heard now that it's like a couple. It's like not that long. It's like maybe 2 or 3 week injuries instead of like 6 to 8 months, like they or know like a long time. So that even makes it more interesting. Is like, does he just come out and say like, I was like just riding my bike, and because I guess what they were also saying on the Mismatch is that videos came out of him like mountain biking, like going biking on like slopes and shit. Mm-hmm. And so they're saying that like maybe he is like into like extreme sports like this. Not necessarily that he was drunk or something like that. I think that's where everyone's brain immediately goes, is that he was like under the influence and fell off his bike. But I was wondering, maybe if he's just like an extreme, does kind of crazy shit on his bike and wiped out. He does seem like,
perhaps.
I'm going to peg Kelly Oubre as like an extreme sports guy. He seems like the kind of guy who would love snowboarding.
Okay.
Do you not see it?
Me personally, I don't.
He seems like the kind of guy who would fucking love it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't see it.
You know who else strikes me like that is Frank Jackson. He was like a point guard for. He's still,
yeah.
The Jazz. He strikes me as another guy who probably loves skateboarding.
Okay.
Too. Yeah. Kelly Oubre. I'm just gonna say he's like a street biker.
Okay.
Yeah. He does like God, what was that game? Do you remember? Did you ever play that game, Matt? God, the people at home will know. It was like the match to Tony Hawk, but it was BMX.
Right. God, what's that guy's name? Now it's gonna bother me.
He passed away. Matt something. The people at home know.
Hoffman?
Matt Hoffman.
Was it Matt Hoffman?
I don't know, because also Huff is a bike.
Right, Huff or Huffy.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, Huffy. So maybe I'm just getting those two mixed up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, rest in peace. Thank you for a great video game.
Yeah, honestly, man, like where would we be as a society had it not been for that game?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're getting out of here. Dude, my stomach hurts so bad.
I'm sorry, dude.
Okay,
hey, Drew powered through, man. He said we're gonna make
through.
this. We're gonna make this happen because we didn't get an episode out last week for the Belgians. So this is for Belgium, right?
This is for the country of Belgium. Who, if you guys need a point guard for your national basketball team, I am available. And also, I've been farting so much, I feel bad if Drew can smell them. You can follow me on Instagram at Drew Absher is dumb. That's the best place to see me, Drew.
Yeah, jru.e on Instagram and Threads, although admittedly I probably should start using Threads more. Picking up steam over there.
Are you?
Well, no, just like in general. Like Threads is kind of...
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm having fun on NBA Threads.
People are starting to use them more, so that's kind of cool to see. I got to remember to post on there. It's just too many apps. And then that local guy, of course, the O is a 0. That's me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. For those of you who are listening who bought a meet and greet ticket before the Trailblazers game, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that was a decision that I had to make for my family and I. So and we'll run it back. We'll do it again.
People are respecting your privacy, I hope.
They're not, but that's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry about that. The last thing I want to say is the Warriors are dead. I'm burying the Warriors.
It's done, huh?
They're dead.
We're putting the nails in the coffin?
They're dead. Jonathan Kuminga isn't who we thought he was. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Later.